UN gang tried to arrange for a helicopter to drop a bomb onto the Bacon's house.
What? This is real life! They deployed a chopper gunner, bro! I done seen it all in my days! What's up, y'all? It's your boy Jiggy League, man, and I am back with some more fire reaction content for y'all. Today on the agenda, man, we are going to be reacting to the Bacon Brothers, Canada's most infamous gangsters. I ain't gonna lie, gangster and Canada just don't go together to me. I ain't gonna hold you, twin. But I ain't gonna overdo the intro. Like, comment, subscribe. I love y'all. Get the video to 10 likes. Let's get into this, man.
Jonathan,
let's see what the
Jared,
Canadian Bacon Brothers was
came
on.
from the world of privilege and opportunity. Jonathan, Jared, and Jamie Bacon came from the world of privilege and opportunity. Jonathan, Jared, and Jamie Bacon.
Jamie looked like a hammerhead shark, gang. Let's get into that off rip. Jamie looked like a hammerhead shark. But I ain't gonna,
came from the world
we ain't
of
gonna
privilege
overdo it with
and
the pausing,
opportunity.
man. I know how
They
y'all
couldn't
get.
resist the allure of a life of crime.
We ain't gonna
The three
overdo it with
brothers
the pausing,
quickly
but
rose through the
he looked
ranks
like
of
a
the
hammerhead
BC
shark.
underworld, and at one point were the most dominant force in the Vancouver drug scene. But competition over territory would eventually escalate into armed conflict in what would turn into one of Canada's deadliest gang wars. This struggle involved some of the country's most notorious criminal organizations, including the United Nations gang.
Alright, I ain't gonna lie. They look like something out of like a evil, like they look like an evil villain group out of a movie, like the bunch of just created players, like NPCs. Like, come on, bro.
Red Scorpions, the Independent Soldiers, and even the Vancouver chapter of the Hells Angels.
They were watching too
But during
much
the fighting,
movies.
the Bacons would orchestrate an appalling massacre that would bring about their shocking downfall, at least for the time being. The story of the Bacon Brothers begins in Abbotsford, British Columbia, where Father David worked as a high school teacher for kids with special needs, while Mother Susan was a property manager for a credit union.
Bro!
The family was...
And that's what be wrong, bro. More often than not, a lot of the times, like, people get into the streets because of environmental things, you know, lack of resources, so on and so forth. But a lot of people just decide to wake up one day and be like, you know what, I'm gonna put my energy to this. Like, come on, bro. Y'all had a nice upbringing. Like, what is...
was comfortably upper middle class
that, bro.
and had
like,
3 children.
Come on, man.
Jonathan, born 1981, Jared, born 1983, and Jamie, born 1985.
Like something off Jersey Shore.
Jonathan
like,
attended
come on, them is
WJ
Guidos,
Watts
bro.
Secondary School,
Those are
while
Guidos,
Jared and Jamie
bro.
went to
Like,
Yale Secondary. All 3
bro.
brothers excelled in sports, with Jamie even winning a provincial gold medal in a wrestling competition.
Alright.
Jonathan was suspected by many of his peers of being a drug dealer in school, but what many of his classmates found most peculiar was that all of them had tattoos with Chinese characters. This is because they were members of the United Nations gang.
Way to make it
Founded
hot.
by Clayton Roosh in 1997, the UN gang is one of the largest in Canada, and operated an incredibly lucrative business where they'd smuggle marijuana into the United States in return for cocaine, which they would then sell in the Vancouver area. The UN gang earned its name.
Alright, he's just group of goofballs. Like, first off, what's he on? What type of drugs was he on in this picture? Like, bro look like he's booted up. These look like soccer dads, bro. Like, Buddy look constipated. Like, he looks like an inflated balloon. Like, bro, this just... I can't take these boys serious,
due to its ethnically diverse membership. But all members were required to get
and I don't put none past nobody, but like,
respect,
come on, bro.
and
Y'all look
Chinese
like y'all's on a
tattooed on
PTO group. Like,
with older brother
come
Jonathan
on, bro.
selling drugs, Jared and Jamie quickly followed in his footsteps, and began dealing as well in high school. Journalist Jerry Langton would later write in his book, The Notorious Bacon Brothers, quote, "They didn't come from poverty, or an abusive or broken home. In fact, they came from exactly the opposite upbringing that many social critics say incubates crime." The Bacon brothers lived in middle-class affluence, in a nice house with their supportive parents. They went to good schools at which they excelled athletically, and were popular socially. They were just some guys who thought they could get rich selling drugs. The RC...
Like, bro, I don't get that concept. Like, I understand, bro. There are so many ways to make money in this world, gang. Like, especially if you have resources. That's what I said. Environment and lack of resources have a huge influence on that. But it's like, bro, you had the good environment and you had the resources. And this is what you chose to do? That's what we like to call dickheads, bro.
TMP
like,
believed that all 3 brothers initially worked with the UN gang, and would eventually become some of its most successful dealers.
Like,
despite increasing police attention towards them, the brothers lived lavishly and were always seen around town driving high-end cars with beautiful women. In the year 2000, Jonathan was arrested for drug possession, and was arrested again the following year for possession of stolen goods. That same year, 15-year-old Jamie was arrested for assault, the details of which are sealed due to a court order. In 2001, the brothers' parents purchased a massive house with 7 bedrooms, fueling much speculation in the area as to how they could afford such a home with their working-class salaries. The whole family moved into the new house, and the brothers quickly made their presence in the neighborhood known.
And I wonder what the parents was on. Like, I wonder if they were supporting, like, hey, shit, as long as y'all keep buying us cars. Like, I wonder what the parents, like, perspective on this was.
Regularly hosting loud parties that would continue all throughout the night, and parking their luxury cars wherever they pleased. A neighbor, who asked to only be identified as Nelson, was interviewed by Jerry Langton, and gave his opinions on all 3 brothers, saying that they made everyone in the neighborhood nervous, but that Jonathan was the most sensible brother, while Jared tried to look like a gangster in dark suits and expensive sunglasses.
Like,
he looked like he had more money than taste. Bro. Jamie, meanwhile, was the size of a moose and seemed about half as smart. While the other 2 had macho swagger, Jamie looked like a psycho.
He looked like a big dumbass. Like, you know, he looked like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. That Disney movie, bro, that's what he looked like. Like,
at this point, the police were well aware of the brothers, but they were unable to obtain enough evidence against them. This changed when in 2004, Jared was involved in an altercation outside the Fraser Valley Inn pub. Jared had gotten into a heated argument with 2 men, which led to the 3 stepping outside to settle things. Once outside, Jared pulled out a gun and shot one of the men. Jared was arrested and charged with attempted murder, but the victim refused to cooperate with police out of fear of the brothers retaliating. Prosecutors pressed on with the case, but it was eventually thrown out by a judge due to lack of evidence. This incident only increased the police's surveillance of the brothers, particularly Jonathan, as they knew he was one of the biggest traffickers in the area. In 2005, he moved out of his parents' place and rented a house 10 minutes away. Not long after, police were called due to a home invasion elsewhere in the city. The home had a hidden grow-up, and the cops arrived so quickly they managed to catch the robbers, one of whom was none other than Jonathan. Shockingly, he was wearing a bulletproof vest that had been stolen from the RCM.
Fuck is he, 50 Cent? Who did he think he was, bro? Buddy can't bulletproof vest. Like, bro, this is not get rich or die trying, bro.
Jonathan was charged, but again the case against him fell apart after witnesses refused to testify. Undeterred, police put Jonathan under 24/7 surveillance, and a couple of weeks later, they witnessed him enter a car with Godwin Cheng, a suspected drug trafficker with the UN gang.
He looked like a college professor, like, bro.
Police arrested both men and discovered 8 ounces of marijuana and 4 packages of cocaine.
Damn.
Police obtained a search warrant and raided Jonathan's home where they discovered more narcotics as well as a stockpile of illegal firearms. But most surprisingly, they found a police scanner and a complete RCMP uniform. Bro. Apparently,
this
Jonathan
is not Grand Theft Auto.
While he and his associates robbed
local dealers. Decoy outfits. This is not Grand Theft Auto, bro.
Meanwhile, the UN gang were under increasing pressure from law enforcement. Many of its members on both sides of the border had received long prison sentences due to an intense police crackdown. Sensing an opportunity, the Red Scorpions gang then made a move and started trying to muscle in on the UN gang's cocaine market. The Bacons worked with the UN gang, but were never official members, and so the gang's current problems had the Bacons considering their options. On September 21st, 2006, Jonathan was shot 5 times, including once in the head, in a drive-by shooting. As good Samaritans came to help him, one heard him say, "I'm dead, I'm dead."
They cooked bacon. They fried bacon. No, y'all wasn't fucking with that. My bad.
Over and over again while waiting for the ambulance to arrive. But shockingly, he would survive and eventually make a full recovery.
He survived.
But the incident caused the Bacons to look for new partners who could provide them with better security. And so they jumped ship to the Red Scorpions gang, where they quickly took over and became its principal leaders.
They moving like LeBron in 2012, 2013. You can't just switch in free agency like that, bro. Like, you know what? I'm taking my talents to South Beach. You can't do that, bro. Like, this is not 2K.
This further inflamed tensions between the two groups, which soon exploded into an all-out war, spiraling into one of the bloodiest gang wars in Canadian history. For their betrayal, the UN gang made the Bacon brothers their prime targets. And in 2007, as Jamie was parking his Corvette, an SUV quickly pulled up beside him, and 2 gunmen inside opened fire. Jamie was somehow unharmed, and he returned fire with a handgun he had hidden in his car. The RCMP were quickly on the scene, and when they searched Jamie's car, they discovered 4 more pistols hidden in a secret compartment. Jared's fingerprints were discovered on the guns as well.
So he had Blick with him and 4 other Blicks in the car. They really thought they were in a movie, bro. Gun compartment. What Kevin Hart said? Gun compartment. That's crazy.
So both were arrested and charged with weapons possession. After his arrest, Jamie told one of the officers that the reason why he was unharmed in the shooting was because he always wore a level 3 bulletproof vest, an idea he got from watching TV. The fighting between the
I told y'all, they watch too much TV, bro. You're not 50
multiple
Cent.
Shootings, stabbings, and bombings being attributed to both gangs. Amidst the carnage, the Hells Angels benefited greatly, as they supplied both sides with weapons and drugs.
They said, hey.
In 2007, Red Scorpions founding member Eddie Narong, as well as brothers Corey and Jason Lau, left the group and started their own organization based in Surrey. Corey also tried to recruit.
Okay, so you got the UN and you got the Red Scorpions, and then the Red Scorpions founders dropped out and got made their own stuff. So we got 3 major gangs.
Several other Red Scorpions to join his new crew. This infuriated Jamie, who met with Corey inside a McDonald's.
You a free agent
Jamie told Corey that he would have to pay a $100,000 tax for disrespecting
I ain't gonna
him.
lie, nobody
Corey
looking
refused,
like that is
and so
gonna
Jamie
extort
threatened
me,
his
bro.
life, and then angrily
Nobody
stormed
looking
out.
like this is extorting me, gang. I ain't gonna lie with a look, man. You big, dumb, ugly, rockhead looking ass nigga. Man, get out my face, bro. Man, get out my face, gang. I ain't paying you nothing.
Jamie learned from an informant that Corey's operation was run out of an apartment located in the Balmoral Tower complex in Surrey. And so on October 19th, 2007, a Red Scorpion hit squad arrived there looking for Corey. October 19th, out of an apartment located in the Balmoral. Jamie learned from an informant that Corey's operation was run out of an apartment located in the Balmoral Tower complex in Surrey. And so on October 19th, 2007, a Red Scorpion hit squad arrived there looking for Corey. The gunmen were Cody Havisher, Matt Johnston, and a man who can only be identified as Person X due to a publication ban. The 3 hitmen hid outside Corey's apartment while Sofon Sek, an associate of Corey's, knocked on the door. Corey believed that Sek was there for a drug deal, and so when he looked out the peephole and saw Sek standing there, he unlocked the door. But in reality, Sek had been paid $20,000 to lead the assassins to Corey. As the door opened, Sek ran away and the 3 gunmen stormed into the apartment, and this is when the situation spiraled out of control. Corey was supposed to be alone, but inside with him were his brother Jason, associate Ryan Bartholomew, and innocent repairman Ed Schellenberg, who was there to fix the room's furnace. As the gunmen scrambled to get the situation under control, the door was unexpectedly opened by Eddie Narong. Seeing the situation, he ran down the hallway towards the elevator, but was caught by Johnston before he could escape. As Narong was marched back to the apartment at gunpoint, a 22-year-old named Christopher Mohan stumbled upon the scene. He was one of Corey's neighbors and had been walking towards the elevators so he could meet up with some friends to play basketball. But Johnston didn't want there to be any potential witness.
He looked like the big dumbass who would do something like that too. Like, why all these niggas look like they got the IQ of 20 combined? Like, come on, bro.
And so he grabbed Mohan and took him back to the apartment as well. The gunman then put hoods over the heads of all 6 men, and then made them lie on the apartment floor, face down, and with their arms above their heads. They were then all shot multiple times in the back of the head, with 19 bullets being fired overall. The killers then fled the scene. The whole incident lasted just under 20 minutes. They retreated back to Havisher's house, just a few blocks away from Balmoral, where they burned their bloody clothes and boiled the victims' cell phones. The Surry Six incident, as the media called it, shocked the entire country and instantly became front-page news. The case was assigned to veteran RCMP investigator Derek Brassington, who...
I'm gonna stop here. I'm just thinking, I couldn't take nobody serious with like a Canadian accent. Like, I know they really put in work and I know they really doing what they do, but bro, I couldn't take you serious. Like, you trying to rob me with a Canadian. Get down, fam. Get down, fam. Get down, Crody. Like, bro, look at this nigga. Like, bro, I'm not giving up nothing, bro. Get down, Crody. I'm dead ass. Like, bro, I'm not going for that. But that's just me. That's just me.
Was widely considered one of the best detectives in all of Canada. Police scoured the crime scene and the nearby area for clues, but it was no use. The assassins had covered their tracks too well.
Them boys
Meanwhile, in the wake of the Surry Six slayings, the war between the Red Scorpions and the UN gang exploded, with 20 people being killed and over 40 wounded in just under a year. The UN gang also kept up the pressure on the Bacons, with the police disrupting numerous attempts on their lives. as 11 UN gang members were arrested and charged with conspiracy to kill the Bacons in that time frame. In one of these plots, the UN gang tried to arrange for a helicopter to drop a bomb onto the Bacons' house.
What? Nigga, what? This ain't Call of Duty, bro. They're deploying kill streaks, bro. They got chopper gunners out. Bro, you can't do that. This is real life. They deployed a chopper gunner, bro. I done seen it all in my days, bro. They really was taking influence from so many things.
And in another, they tried to blow them up with a rocket launcher and grenades. But all of these plans failed. The Bacons would respond in kind, with an attempt being made on the life of UN gang leader Clayton Roosh in late 2007 when a Bacon associate fired several shots at him. Roosh was unharmed, but the attempt on his life led him to put a massive bounty on all 3 Bacon brothers.
Bro, they really look like something off of Jersey Shore. Like, come on, gang. Go, Benny! Go, Benny! Like, bro, chill. You look like Ronnie, bro. That's Ronnie from Jersey Shore,
with the bounty on Jamie alone exceeding $300,000.
Like, I just hate his face,
Roosh had his men collect information on the Bacons, including photos of their homes and descriptions and license plates of their vehicles. The plan was to use this info to arrange a carefully organized plot on the brothers, but all of that changed on May 8, 2008. That day, popular UN gang Lieutenant Dwayne Meyer was killed outside his home in a drive-by shooting. According to court documents, after hearing the news, Roosh sent out emails to his gang, demanding that everyone stop everything and go out and start terrorizing these guys and killing them all.
He got on that!
Roosh and his men then set out in several groups searching the city for any trace of the Bacons, in what was later described in court as, quote, they were out for revenge, now on the spot.
On site!
At one point in the day, a car full of UN gang members happened to drive past Bacon associate Michael Lee. They chased him on the highway and through 2 Vancouver neighborhoods. They sprayed his car with bullets.
They was on his ass,
Roosh then met up with several of his men in a Burnaby McDonald's, where they went over all of the information they had collected on the Bacons and agreed to split up so they could check out all of the locations the brothers were known to frequent. Roosh and an associate drove to Port Moody, where Jonathan Bacon owned a condo. On the way, they were pulled over by police, and when questioned on when the violence would stop, Roosh said it wouldn't, and then told the cop, quote, it would be the same if a police officer was murdered. The police would also want revenge. That was just the way it was.
I ain't gonna lie, that's snitching. Basically, you just told the cop, like, yeah, it's up and it's stuck. Bro, you just really don't care that much? Like, you're going to jail, gang! Like, why would you say that?
While Roosh didn't have any luck in Port Moody, it was a different story for a group of 6 UN gang members traveling along the highway from Abbotsford to Vancouver. They spotted Jonathan Bacon's Porsche SUV and pulled up alongside it. Gunmen inside then opened fire, killing the SUV's driver. Roosh was ecstatic, and after hearing the news, he sent out an email that simply said, "We killed Jonathan Bacon. We just got him." But it would later turn out that the occupant of the SUV was instead Jonathan Barber, a friend of Bacon's who was taking his SUV to an auto shop to upgrade the sound system.
That's so foul. He knew what he was doing too. He said, yeah, bro, you think you could go take my car to the Yaminer to go... Bro, you knew you was in beef, bro. Why would you have that man do that? You could have just got it towed there. Like, bro, you set your mans up for the okie doke. Got his ass cooked. That's foul, bro.
As the gang war continued, police caught a lucky break in the Surry Six case. A full year had passed and the case remained cold, but Person X, who had killed 3 of the 6 victims in the massacre, was beginning to feel remorse over his actions. He had confessed his crimes to his girlfriend, and his criminal associates had noticed a marked change in his demeanor. Jamie became convinced that Person X was cooperating with the police. On New Year's Eve 2008, Person X met up with 2 other Bacon associates with a plan to rob a rival drug dealer's home. As the group arrived at a dead-end street, Person X stepped out of their car to review surveillance photos of their target. Then, one of the men he was there with pulled out a gun and fired 3 shots, with one hitting Person X in the back. But then the gun jammed, which gave Person X enough time to escape by jumping a fence and running through a nearby stream.
He's definitely snitching now.
Now marked for death by Jamie, Person X contacted police and confessed to his part in the Surry Six slayings. He identified Havisher and Johnston as the other gunmen, and Jamie as being the mastermind behind the hit. On April 3rd, 2009...
I ain't gonna lie, if Jamie is the mastermind in anything you're doing... if Jamie's the mastermind in anything you're doing, you're cooked. you're doomed. You're destined for doom, bro. Like, there's nothing good gonna come out if this is the mastermind of any operation you got going on. A mastermind? Megamind? Mastermind? That's crazy,
as
bro.
being the mastermind behind the hit.
Mastermind.
On April 3rd, 2009, Jamie Bacon was arrested by a group of heavily armed police officers. The next month, Jared was arrested as well on weapons charges. He got out on bail and began planning to purchase a large sum of drugs. But unbeknownst to Jared, the dealer he was in contact with was actually an undercover informant who was wearing a wire, and he recorded Jared talking about buying 100 kilos of cocaine for $3 million. Jared was rearrested and kept in jail while awaiting trial. With both of his brothers now behind bars, Jonathan sought out new alliances. In 2010, he formed the Wolfpack Alliance alongside Randy Naker and James Ryak of the Independent Soldiers Gang, as well as full-patch Hell's Angel Larry Amaro. Described by Canadian journalist Peter Edwards as a loosely allied and multi-ethnic group of mostly millennial-aged gangsters who operated across the country.
Basically a bunch of grown-ass men who needed some better shit to do. Cause what are we doing? Really? Like, you're just creating groups like we in high school? Like, come on, bro.
The Wolfpack Alliance quickly became the primary Canadian distributors for cocaine from Chapo Guzman's Sinaloa cartel in Mexico. In response to this power shift, drug lord Gurmeet Singh Dak entered into an alliance with Sandip Dure, who ran a gang in Vancouver that had over 100 members. The newly formed Dak Dure group then allied themselves with the UN gang against the Wolfpack. On October 16, 2010, an event would transpire that would lead the ongoing gang war into its bloodiest phase yet.
What they say, there's too many chiefs. It's too many Indians, not enough chiefs. Like, bro, like, what's to y'all? Like,
that day, Gurmeet was found dead outside of the Metrotown Mall in downtown Burnaby.
They smoked him at a mall?
He was inside his BMW and had a single gunshot wound to the head, indicating that a professional was behind the hit.
Oh, hell
Gurmeet's
no.
brother, Suk Dak, believed that Amaro, Ryak, and Jonathan Bacon were responsible, a hypothesis shared by police as well. Dak hired a four-man hit squad to avenge his brother.
Ooh.
The assassins placed GPS tracking devices under their targets' vehicles, and on August 14, 2011, they showed that all three were together at the Delta Grand Hotel in Kelowna, BC.
No way, they popped the
around
UAV on them
2:45
boys.
Jonathan, Ryak, Amaro, as well as a group of women left the hotel and got into a white Porsche SUV. Then, Jason McBride, Jujhar Kun, Manjinder Heron, and Michael Jones stepped out of the shadows wearing black masks and carrying AK-47s. They opened fire into the Porsche, critically wounding Amaro, as well as two of the women who were inside. Ryak escaped completely unharmed and later fled the country to the Philippines.
He got his ass
Jonathan
going.
Bacon was hit 6 times and died of blood loss at the scene.
Jonathan finally got his ass fried, bro. That's burnt bacon. They was on his ass, bro. They shot him 6 times the first time, like.
Death of the eldest Bacon brother unleashed a wave of violence across BC as the Red Scorpions and the Wolfpack Alliance retaliated against his killers, with dozens of murders soon
When does it
following.
end?
A month later, Dak associate Billy Wu was found dead, and Kun was injured in a drive-by shooting. Not long after, Dak associate Stephen Leone, who had been instrumental in planning the Bacon hit, was gunned down in Surrey, while Tom Gisby, a major dealer and close friend of Gurmeet's, suffered superficial burns after his mobile home was firebombed.
Bro. They was
He escaped with his life, but would later be gunned down in Mexico. On January 17, 2012,
Bro, they caught him in Mexico, gang. These niggas was serious. I ain't gonna lie, these niggas was serious.
Day after the Gisby firebombing, Sandip Dure was shot to death inside the lobby of the Sheraton Wall Center in downtown Vancouver. With the fallout from the Bacon hit still ongoing, the UN gang managed to strike back when they took out Independent Soldiers and Wolfpack Alliance founder Randy Naker outside of a Starbucks in Port Moody.
Dang, they were squad wiping niggas, bro.
Suk Dak found himself on trial for conspiracy and drug trafficking.
They was squad
While the case was on
wiping
break,
these boys,
Dak and his bodyguard, Thomas Mantell, drove to the Executive Suites Hotel in nearby Burnaby. As the two approached the entrance, they were both gunned down in broad daylight, with their killer making his escape. But the two approached the entrance, they were both gunned down in broad daylight, with their killer making his escape before he could be identified. It would later be revealed that the killing of both Suk Dak and Sandip Dure was organized by none other than Larry Amaro.
Oh yeah.
As the violence on the streets reached its crescendo, both of the remaining Bacon brothers languished behind bars. Jared's trial on drug trafficking charges began in 2011, and his lawyers made the mistake of allowing him to testify in his own defense.
Oh, brother.
While on the stand, Jared admitted that he was a criminal, and that because he was a former wrestling champion, he frequently gave rivals vicious beatdowns. But he denied being a drug dealer. When confronted with the audio that police informant GL secretly recorded of him, Jared claimed that he never intended to purchase any cocaine, but was instead planning on stealing it. While on the stand,
that's better? Like, yo!
Jared testified, quote, yo. The police knew I was going to rob GL 100% without a doubt,
what?
And that's why they never produced any drugs, because GL didn't want to get his frickin' jaw broken. I am lucky that they didn't bring the drugs because I would have robbed them, and the police probably would have shot me. It would have ended very badly.
Lock his ass
When asked by the prosecutor what he planned to do with the drugs after he had stolen it, Jared claimed he hadn't thought that far ahead. He also admitted to repeatedly breaking the terms of his bail because he thought they were a joke. He also frequently complained about the media, calling their reporting on him and his family a disgusting smear campaign, and that they should lose their license to report, even though such a thing does not exist. Unsurprisingly, Jared was found guilty on May 4th, and was sentenced to 12 years in prison, which was later reduced to 7 years due to time already served.
Yeah, Canada's
Jamie, meanwhile, was still in police custody awaiting trial. He was held in solitary confinement for 23 hours a day, in a cell that was covered in blood and feces, which his lawyers argued was a violation of his human rights. A judge would agree, ruling that the conditions he was kept in constituted a deprivation of liberty and security of a person that was not in accordance with the principles of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. During the hearing, it was also discovered that prison staff were secretly recording Jamie's conversations with his lawyers, which is illegal, and led the judge to put a permanent pause on his trial. To make matters even worse, another judge ruled that the government's star witness, Person X, would not be allowed to testify in court after the prosecution was exposed for coaching him and telling him exactly what to say while on the stand. But the trial of Johnston, Havishar, and Person X still went forward, and the three were found guilty in 2014 of 6 counts of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole for 25 years. Jamie's trial was to resume later that year, and the government was confident in their case in large part due to the testimony of Jane Doe 1, who was Jamie's girlfriend at the time of the murders. But right before the trial was set to begin, the entire case blew up due to a shocking revelation. Derek Brassington, the detective who was in charge of the Surry Six investigation, was found to have been secretly dating Jane Doe 1 for years. A text message he sent her,
Brassington, let me hear what he said.
Stated, quote, "The more attached I become to you, the more anxiety I feel. There really isn't a chance in hell we could have a future together. I didn't enter this thinking we would fall in love with each other."
He needs the shit smacked out of him. Brassington! You simp ass, bro. Brassington, you soiling the case, bro. Oh, cause you can't keep your Johnny Wilson in your pants. You falling in love with the star witness. Fire Brassington. Fire for Brassington. Get Brassington's dumb ass off the force. Get him as furthest away from the force as possible.
Jane Doe 1 revealed their relationship to the public after she became pregnant with Brassington's baby, and he refused to leave his wife from her.
He got her pregnant?
Dave Atnew, Brassington's boss, and one of the other detectives on the case, also tried to date a witness. He got drunk at a bar one night and then went to the hotel room where Person X's girlfriend was staying. He drunkenly kissed and groped her, but she refused his advances.
You big freakazoid!
About this, he almost pulled out of the entire case altogether, but was eventually convinced to stay on. Brassington was sleeping with a third witness as well. The team also racked up massive bills paid for by the police, taking their girlfriends to hockey games in Toronto, expensive restaurants in Montreal, and high-end hotels in Vancouver.
They were tricking on the witnesses with the police's money.
Brassington and his team were getting drunk at bars and partying all night long in strip clubs. Jamie's lawyers argued that the testimony against him was perjury, as all of the government's key witnesses turned out to be secretly sleeping with the police. The case against Jamie was once again paused, with the judge stating that there were serious concerns in the manner in which the police handled aspects of privileged and confidential information. An appeals court would later rule that the government had evidence of Jamie's guilt other than the witness testimony, and so a new trial was scheduled. But that never took place, as before the new trial was set to begin in 2020, Jamie's lawyers negotiated a plea deal. Without the testimony of Jane Doe 1, the government's case was considerably weaker, and so the 6 counts of first-degree murder were dropped, and in exchange Jamie pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit murder for the Surry Six slayings, as well as the attempted hit on Person X. He was sentenced to just 18 years in prison, which was further reduced to 5 years and 7 months due to the time he had already spent in custody. In 2022, a stunning audio tape was leaked to the press that Jamie had recorded while in prison. While the exact reason behind him recording the tape is not known, in it Jamie went after the Hells Angels, saying, quote, "These guys are all goofs. They all play all sides of the game. Almost every biker is working with the police. Okay, I've seen it, bro. They think that they're gods, and they are little goofs that need to be locked up in solitary and die with their teeth and hair falling out." Look at this guy calling
somebody a goof.
He also says, quote, "Every giant, every group that got to grow into a giant, only got taken down by 5-0. Bullets can't beat these guys, so bullets isn't the answer. If I felt like I'm getting out soon, and I could kill all of them,
and they was gonna give him 5 years.
That's what I would choose.
They was gonna give him 5 years.
Due to the incredible police misconduct, Jamie Bacon will be a free man in 2026. Jared Bacon was released from prison on parole in February 2017. It later turned out that this was a mistake, as the parole board miscalculated his sentence and accidentally let him out 16 months too early. 7 months later, he was rearrested after being caught drunk at a strip club with a known criminal. Since associating with known criminals is a parole violation, Jared was arrested, but he successfully argued that because the parole board accidentally let him out in the first place, they now had no jurisdiction to revoke his parole.
The
parole board actually agreed, and Jared was once again a free man with new release conditions.
Like, I don't know who was worse, the criminals or the cops.
He was sent back to prison after violating these new terms after he tested positive for cocaine. He appealed for early release in 2019, but that was denied due to him playing a leading role in a prison riot earlier that year. He served the remainder of his sentence and has been a free man since August 2020. Matthew Johnston died of cancer in 2022, while Cody Havisher and Person X remain behind bars. But on October 7th of this year, the BC Supreme Court will hear a petition to overturn Havisher's conviction due to the police misconduct. Sofon Sek won $364,000 at a poker championship in 2009. Within minutes of claiming his prize, he was arrested by police officers in the crowd and charged for his role in the Surry Six killings. He was sentenced to 1 year in prison, after which he was deported back to Cambodia, where he died not long after from cancer.
Cancer did more justice than the cops.
And one other member of their team were all charged with misconduct. At his hearing in 2019, Brassington openly wept as he told the court that his wife had divorced him, and he was now estranged from his children.
We don't care,
all 3 men
idiot.
Pleaded guilty and were sentenced to house arrest.
I have zero sympathy for this guy.
And that was the video. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.
Hold on, really lock in. This was the biggest group of idiots I've ever seen in my life. Whether it was the criminals or the cops, bro. These boys was living like a movie. Popping UAVs, chopper gunners. This is not Call of Duty, bro. They really thought it was a game. And it was crazy to me is that the Canadian justice system, bro, basically gave all these boys, besides the people who killed the people, the 6 people, they gave them all basically like a slap on the wrist. Like, nah, gang, I am not gonna lie, this one is some of the wildest stuff I ever heard in my life. Like, comment, subscribe to get the video to 10 likes, man. I love y'all. Until next time, Jiggy Leak out, man.